need a meal. However, sometimes I just want to watch TV and stay home. How is the food delivery system crashing the businesses of food places? Well, Jen is about to interview our guests about the big question: delivery, dine-in, or pop-up? Which concept will survive the new consumer behavior? Joining this segment are 4 guests that we have invited to the studio today, including Madam Yip Leong Sam, President of Malaysian Specialty Coffee Association. Now, the MCSA was formed with a vision to build and secure growth in the Malaysian coffee industry. Our second guest, Vignezan Selvadurai, co-founder of the Lunken Crabs. If you're a big fan of crabs, this place features live Indonesian mud, aka mangrove crabs, that are sourced daily, and their kitchen is helmed by Master Chef Wijaya, who hails from Colombo, Sri Lanka. The third guest that we have that will be interviewed is Irvin Quick, the world latte art champion, and also the owner of Cafe 103. Irvin is the youngest world champion for latte art. He's also the CEO and founder of Adept and Barista Academy. Our fourth guest for this segment is Liang Fu Kwan, Managing Director of Big Onion Food Caterer. Mr. Liang transformed the restaurant with just 5 employees into a catering and event management place that staffs 60 personnel. So they will be talking about what is coming up next in the industry and how dine-in, pop-up, or delivery will interfere with regular business models. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome back to our studio. Our topic for this F&B segment is about delivery, dine-in, and pop-up concept. Which one will survive the new consumer behavior? Joining us for this discussion is Mr. Vicky from the Lunken Crabs, Mr. Irvin from Cafe 103, Mr. Liang from Big Onion Food Caterer, and Yip from Malaysian Specialty Coffee Association. Now, 2020 is indeed one of the most challenging years for restaurant operators. Before COVID-19, restaurant operators were already undergoing a period of change, including shifts in consumer behavior, digital ordering, pop-ups, and dining experience. Now the question is, will there be a massive change in every aspect of restaurant experience? Let's get a quick overview from our speakers on the new normal for restaurants and how consumer behavior change has reshaped the restaurant industry. Let us start with Mr. Vicky. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, thank you, Jennifer. To me, I think 2020, what it's done is it's accelerated an existing behavior change to the restaurant industry, right? And I think collectively, every different restaurant has tried to address how they can overcome the challenges on daily basis in relations to their resources, in terms of people, in terms of marketing, in terms of even getting their raw commodities. So this whole evolution or the change has been accelerated. It's something that has been coming, but like COVID has done to everybody in terms of work, everything has been accelerated.
So it was something that you saw coming anyway, right?
I think it was something that we were already doing, right? If you look at the restaurant industry, like you said, there was a behavior change prior to 2020, even from the invent of aggregators, right? That by itself is a behavior change. So when COVID struck and when we went down into lockdown in probably March, right? What happened was that whole demand for the aggregators accelerated, right? So what we did as consumers, we then changed our behavior pattern faster than what was expected prior to this. That's yeah.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
What about Irvin? What do you think? What's your outlook on?
I think this pandemic actually is pushing the boundaries of the F&B industry. Why I would say so is because like back then you can only have great service, great experience when you dine in a luxury or expensive kind of restaurant. But right now, like every restaurant or cafes or any dine-in places, they will provide excellent service because of the the concern from the consumers is getting very serious. They care about their hygiene and everything. So it's actually good. The challenge is good for me.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, shouldn't service excellence, customer service be already existent anyway, decades ago? It didn't need COVID to push the boundaries of service excellence, isn't it? It's already expected from F&B operators.
Yes, some of it, as I say, those great restaurants is already doing a great job. Just the lower part of the restaurants, back then they haven't realized that this is much important than any other things. So right now they are more alert to do this kind of thing to be better. Yeah.
That's true, yeah. And well, I think maybe Mr. Liang will come back to him later because he's in the catering side. I mean, Yip, you are representing the Malaysian Specialty Coffee Association, right?
Yes.
What is your take? I mean, the cafe business has grown, right? Suddenly you see a mushrooming of all these new cafes. It's like some kind of new lifestyles and whatnot. What about you? What's your take on that?
I think due to the pandemic and many of the people like last year because of the lockdown, so we can see that there's a hike in actually coffee assumption because many of them is like they started to take delivery or they started to actually brew their own coffee at home. And you can see that those roaster cafe that roast their own coffee, that actually there's a hike in their business.
So it's turned out well for the coffee business, hasn't it?
Yes, for the specialty coffee, I would say.
Specialty coffee. Okay, interesting. Because we're going to be talking to a specialty company supplier to the next day, and we were going to address the thing about specialty coffee versus instant coffee and what's the global market worth, right? So that's really interesting. Okay, Mr. Liang, what about you? You specialize in the catering business, right? So what is the new norm for catering? What is the consumer change, which to you have two people to look after? One is your client, who was the one hosting the event, and of course the guest, right?
Correct.
So what is your take?
Well, for us, right, it's a very, very big blow to us. As you know, the event side is like totally off. Everybody are afraid no big groups gathering, and then that's where all the events have been cancelled. And I still remember during that time in March, we are looking at what China is happening, and I said, it's coming to Malaysia. So every day we are receiving calls of postpone or cancellation. That's real bad. So what we see is that during that time, what we actually did is that we have to reflect back what can be done, because we foresee this thing won't be for a few months. That's where, to me and a lot of our people from the same industry, is that we have to pivot. Either they hibernate or they pivot to do something. And for us, we try a lot. We try to go into online delivery and then doing online selling, this and that. But the whole thing is that the way we call ourselves as a caterer, because there are different levels as well. There are middle, small scale, medium, and larger scale. So talk about medium, maybe small is like 100 packs and below. Medium will be like 500 packs and below. So larger one will be like 1,000 packs. So happen we actually go into the higher scale, which is 1,000. We can do up to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 packs. So that's where we are badly hit. What we saw is that the whole structure that we are built, the way we do things, right, entire CK is all meant for big
scale events,
big scale event, big cooking, all this and that. Yeah. So when we go to pivot to cater online, which is 3 packs, 5 packs, that's the problem that we encounter. Yeah. So that's our
challenging.
Challenge. Yes.
So we were always talking about which particular sector is the most challenging in terms of COVID, and I couldn't pick, right? I say, okay, would it be hotels? Would it be restaurants? Would it be retail? Would it be catering, for example, or aviation for that matter? So I don't think there is any ranking as to which particular sector is affected more. I think everyone is, or depends on whether how fast and how quickly you pivot, right? Okay, so now let's dive into our discussion on the topic for today, which is which concept will survive the new consumer behavior? Would food delivery, or would it be dining, or even pop-up concepts? So let's hear from our speakers. How has the pandemic changed the way we dine? So Irvin, you have your cafe business, right? So Has there been a significant change in your customer behavior in terms of dining?
For our side, I mean, customers' behaviors have nothing much changes. They are still the same. They need good food. They need good coffee. Most of us are really concerned about the hygiene and social distance nowadays, and also because of this, the brand image and the SOP is very important. Once you did it bad, your image will be very bad, so that the customer will lose trust, towards your brand and all. So for us, I mean, we try our best to maintain our brand image. We try our best to protect our customer as well as protect our employees. Yeah. So nothing much changes actually, just extra move and extra things to be concerned.
But what about, I mean, we had a couple of lockdowns, right? So people couldn't come out, they couldn't dine in. So the pattern of dining in and delivery, for example, has that changed for your cafe?
We have tried to push our delivery sales, but actually something is not belong to delivery, especially our place. We are more focusing on the experience and service from our staff and baristas. So when customer came in, we called it open the magic door. You went to another place and then you provide excellent service. Like when they went out from the door, they back to a normal world. So when we do delivery, we cannot provide those experience through, a box of rice and a cup of coffee. Yeah.
So how did you manage your business during the lockdown when they couldn't come into your special house, to get the experience?
For the first lockdown, we have been thinking that what is our strength for the customer service actually is humanity. So our customers love how we approach them, how we talk to them is very friendly, very humanity. So during the first lockdown, all of our baristas are working hard on drawing something on the paper bag to talk with our customers without any touch, through drawing and writing. So they feel very warm, and actually it works. Like customer love it. They will come back and take picture for social medias and all, say, oh, 103 is cute, warm, and that.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Well, what about you, Vicky? How did that change? I mean, you specialize in crabs.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, for a restaurant that opened 2 weeks after lockdown, right? 2 weeks before lockdown, we actually did see a very big transition month on month, right? So the first 2 months was very heavy on the delivery side, and we did not touch the aggregators until January this year. So the whole of last year, we were trying to do our own fulfillment, right? And then when the lockdown first opened, it was a huge rush. I can still remember a particular day that, I don't know, it was so crowded that people really got angry when we did not let them in. I think it was this whole 3 to 4 months of being locked in, and you could really feel that.
Was that a revenge dining experience?
I think it was that loneliness of not having friends, right? And that really, you could see that in people's faces. And you do see that every time we go back into even a sub-lockdown kind of thing, we do see these kind of things, right? And one of the things that we tried to do as we built our brand was we actually focused on getting the brand recognition by a radius. We started with 3 and eventually started growing it. And that helped us a lot to address when we go into lockdown. See, one of the things is that if you have a very strong brand within a very small, a near radius, during lockdowns, people actually came to do takeaways, not just deliveries, right? So
did the takeaway part of your business grow?
Yes,
it did.
Actually,
how many percent did it
actually,
grow?
in the last 2 lockdowns, the takeaway was about probably 35% of our total delivery.
Oh, that's
right.
amazing.
And that was like, I think if we had not done that brand and not built that relationship with our 3 kilometers to 5 kilometer radius audience, we would not have achieved this.
And what was your takeaway business percentage before COVID?
The delivery in total, that's no before COVID. We are a COVID restaurant, right?
Okay.
So we are looking at about 35% delivery. Yeah. Yeah, but the last 2 months, delivery has come down. Our delivery has come down to about 15%.
Why is it? Because people were coming out to dine
Yes,
again?
I get a lot more, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays is
Malaysians love crab, don't they?
yeah, really.
Especially Sri Lankan crabs. Yeah.
We-
Okay, let's not get there. All right. They're big, isn't it? Sri Lankan crabs are bigger. Yes. Okay. What about you? What have you seen in terms of a shift in behavior change and also I know you mentioned that the coffee, the cafe business have grown, but can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
In fact, it's like people are more focused on the quality of the coffee after the pandemic, because it's like when they started to brew their own coffee at home, they realized how tough and how difficult. And in fact, because of that, they started to appreciate baristas, brewers in the cafe. So it's like we do receive feedback that no matter how they brew, they couldn't make a good cup of coffee as what they have enjoyed in a restaurant or a cafe. So because of that, it increases the education level and talk between us as well as the coffee buyers. So they started to actually look into the details of how to brew a good cup of coffee, in fact.
What is that? What is the growth rate? I mean, since in the last 1 year, how much has the coffee industry grew?
In fact, when I say growth, overall globally, in fact, of course, the business actually went down because no matter how you have reduction in dine-ins, the consumption and all that, no matter how, yes, you can see an increase in buying and make their own coffee at home. However, the overall consumption is reduced. It's just people are more focused on premium coffee as compared to, definitely they will go less to the kopitiam and all that. So that's why overall, globally, the coffee consumption goes down. Right. However, the specialty coffee hikes in the sense that people, when they want to buy coffee beans and all that, they will look at quality of the coffee.
Yeah, so has then the consumer change, the consumer behavior change towards having quality coffee rather than just coffee, for example. Yep. Right. Okay, that's really interesting.
Because in the past, it's like before the lockdown and all that, they can just go to any kopitiam and they can have 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day, as compared to now they want to have a cup of coffee at the price of 4 cups of kopitiam coffee. So that's the switch actually.
Okay, so there's a shift there. All right. What about the events? I know the events industry, the catering business has really collapsed. I would use the word collapse because of the total zero events that was allowed to take place, right? Yeah. So, but now that things are coming back up, is there a shift? Is there a change in consumer behavior?
Yeah. Basically, what I look at here is that human beings by nature, we can't stay alone by itself. We love social. We love to interact. So the moment, right, once it's open up CMCO, that's why all the influx of big group of people, and this is something good because as a human being. And then on the second part, right, typical Malaysian, right, you have this attitude which is very forgiving and forgetful. So sometimes, right, if you notice recently, people still come out, and then yes, definitely with the new SOP, we are more precaution of personal safety and hygiene, everything. So that I look at it, it will be a new norm. And for our industry, right, I spoke to many group of people, a lot of what you call that online training, social media, Zoom, the effectiveness is not there. So it still need to be the
on a physical basis.
Yes. Right. And also when you come to dine, right, it's talking about an experience. Like you say, once you enter into your place, what kind of services, the ambience, and then the services, and then together with the food and the people that's surrounding. So we call it interactive, right? So for us, even if the moment we got, I think last year is July, right, or CMCO, they opened, we start to have a lot of events, private, smaller scale, but people still is there. They still carry on with the events, and even till now, right now, we have the events going on. definitely with a new SOP, the precaution is there, food safety, handling, everything is there. So I look at it, it will be things that we're going to concurrent, live together, cohabit,
Right.
and as a new norm.
Right.
So that is something that what I see.
So it's again, it boils down to, I think F&B boils down to a lot of human connection, right?
Exactly.
You want to be connected, you want to be out, you want to be with friends, yeah.
Yes.
But of course, now with the new norm of SOPs, right?
Yep.
Right. So, but the thing is, what we really want to know more is, will the trend of pop-up restaurants and experiential dining return to revive the empty storefronts and the restaurant spaces we have in our towns and cities due to the close down of many F&B outlets? So do you think overall there is still a huge market and growth for dine-ins? Vicky, what do you think?
Yeah, I seriously think there is opportunity in the food industry, right? Simply because if you look at the behavior of young children today, I see very little young children being able to cook, right? As opposed to the older adults, when we were younger, that we were very much in tune with what happens in the kitchen, right? And with a lot of my colleagues, what I've also seen with the younger demographics is that whole delivery and having consumption within the office and stuff like that, right? So all of this just gives us a reason to think out of the box in relations to what kind of new opportunities are there in this space, of restaurants.
So you don't see that there's a significant amount of consumers out there who are actually more comfortable with convenience. They feel lazier to go out. They just pick up, they go through an app, they order, the food gets delivered.
Yeah.
Do you think there is quite a significant market or creation of that market that has actually taken place? That is, how many % of that market do you think has taken away the dine-in market for you?
I'm not sure in terms of percentage-wise, but I think every proposition, right, needs to be looked at differently. Right, the Lunken Crabs is a proposition to come dine, right? Even the coffee, like I think we have the experience of delivering the end product may not be as good as coming to the restaurant, right? Right, and there are certain products that can be delivered, right? So you need to understand that even with the invent of cloud kitchens, right? There are going to be certain brands that are going to be on the cloud kitchen, right? I may not want to be on a cloud kitchen, all right? I need to create a different restaurant model or a food model that fits. Right, so that's where the opportunity is. Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact. What about Irvin? Well, now with all these new pop-ups, food trucks, right?
Yeah.
Like what you say, you can brew your coffee at home. There's a lot of new F&B businesses that's coming up. What
So-
do you think of these businesses? Is it really disrupting the dine-in market?
At first, maybe yes, because this is considered something new to the market, and then customers are always wanted to look for new things, but still pop-up delivery, food trucks or whatever, each of them have their own strength and their own target audience. For example, I'm Irvin, I'm just one person, but I have different, different way of eating. I will cook, I will order delivery, I will dine in. So, we just have to focus on what we are good at, and then to make it better and better. That's it. Customers will appreciate and they will come for you.
So you think that all four different concepts will survive? Is a matter of like
Yes.
what Vicky says, what your proposition is in terms of your
Yes.
business, right? Fine dining obviously can't go on food
Yeah.
delivery,
For sure, yes.
right? I
That's
think
the thing.
Yeah.
we have a good handful of fine dining restaurants that tried to pivot, that tried to go into food delivery, but just wasn't successful because people will not pay that amount of money to get food delivered, right? Unless you go and say chef on call in that sense,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. What about
No,
catering side?
like during that period, right? I think this takeaway food or ready to eat food, all this suddenly it come out to be very common. But it actually have been in the market for a while, in overseas, in Thailand, in Japan, in Hong Kong. where all the frozen foods is there. And then even the family package, let's say you don't want to cook, you want to have a small family of 4, you have already chicken, fish, or even the rice type, there's different type that's catered for this target market. Before that, none of them appreciate, or they say, oh, these are not fresh food, no good. But during the 2020, everybody tried that. Everybody stock up food. So you have your rendang, you have your grilled chicken, you have your leg of lamb, whatever, it's all frozen. You just need to put in the microwave, so easier. So that part of the market acceptance, right, is there, and it's going to grow, and you'll be there as well. That's definitely for sure. At the same time, experiential, yes. Let's say like what we mentioned. For me, I never take, I don't apply much food on through the apps. But last year, it's increased. Everything. My children's, I said, anything you want, right? You just go to a Panda or Grab and just order, and then payment is all from us lah. So that will be a new norm and also new habits for us to dine. Actually, from the consumer part of view, right, is that they have a lot of choices. And again, not all menus are suitable for takeaway. Example, you don't order a steamed fish or something fine dining because you pay the premium is for the ambience, the chef, the experience. So there are certain things can only go for they call that the pet food. Certain things you still need to be personally to walk in. That's why you say the retail side definitely is there to stay.
But I mean, from your point of view, right, from catering side, how challenging was it for you to move into the food delivery market last year?
Okay, let's say for us, when we actually move into, we call it ready-to-eat food. We come up with like a cooked and pre-cooked or marinated food to supply to two groups. First group is that the end consumer, you and me, for family usage. Then second group is actually to B2B. Those cafe or some outlets, currently, let's say they are serving only dessert, and they, in order to increase their sales, they either increase the price, which is not a good strategy, they'll increase the menu. So with the menu, they don't want to hire extra chef. So what do? So we provide a solution as a ready-cooked food or some of the pre-marinated food and very easy cooking where a normal staff can handle it and you can serve it immediately. So food consumption, wastages, and then overhead is low. So this is an avenue that from a catering part of view, we can go. At the same time, also sauce and paste, because for us, right, we have been catered to some VIP, royal family. I don't think our food is that bad. Where it's acceptable. So what we do is that
your food is good. All that.
So what we do is that we share the recipe and then in the paste or whatever to others, so that it's another channel for us. So when we see that actually this is the market we can grow, and this is what we are focusing, the so-called pivot part. Yes.
Right, but what do you think, or what do you guys think about ghost kitchen, cloud kitchen? You know, is this something going to stay? You think it will stay?
I think that.
Personally, I think it will. Right?
It will.
I think it's a, like I said earlier, it's a golden opportunity depending on what you're going to start cooking in that kitchen, right? It's just that I feel a lot of the cloud kitchen players in the market, right? I think because it's so new, I think there is a lot more learning to be done by them, right? It's the whole process within a cloud kitchen that's very important. And I think one of the key factors that hurts me with cloud kitchen is cost. Right? They come up with this thing that it's going to save you a lot of money. But when you actually go down through the whole nitty-gritty of how much space you're paying per square feet and whatever you're doing, that's not going to work, right? And I think it's very similar to the aggregator models, right? Even the aggregator models are not working.
Not working, right? Yeah. So, but there is a potential.
There is.
Yeah,
and
there is a potential.
I think it will take time for it to evolve.
Right.
To get to what it's supposed to do for us.
Right. Irvin, what do you think from a cafe's point of view?
For the cloud kitchen, right?
Yeah, cloud kitchen. They call it ghost kitchen. I don't know what else they call now.
It is good for those who wanted to create the F&B business quickly. Yeah, it's opportunities for them. But for consumers, I need to think twice because consumers, they have better choices. They have a specialist crab restaurant. They have a specialist coffee place. Why they want to order from the cloud kitchen, which is, some brand is new and a platform is new. So it takes time to educate the consumers.
But it is actually a very good platform for
yeah,
new
sure,
brands,
sure.
right? Especially like you say, the ones that want to come out and create an F&B business quickly.
Yeah, but my problem with them is that creating a business means creating a brand.
Yes.
That's not being done.
As in, so it's not being done from the ghost kitchen point of view.
And
from
not
that
really
side.
done by the people that are getting into these cloud kitchens. And the guys that have cloud kitchens, they come out and tell you that they'll be doing the whole marketing for you. When they explain, they're barely even scraping the surface of what needs to be done, right? And here you're getting young entrepreneurs who are starting new brands. That's just going to be a structure to fail, right? So this is the process, that learning process that needs to go through to eventually have cloud kitchens done well. I personally visited the cloud kitchens in UK last year. Really well. The structure of, they understand from, your job is to cook, right? And their job is to actually get your food out to the consumer. That whole thing, that whole process. Right, it's
Interesting. There's a lot more that we can learn from, of course, from the markets, the more seasoned and veteran players. Right. Now, so my question again is, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Is food delivery and takeaway disrupting the future of dining experience? Has it disrupted? Will it disrupt more, in your opinion?
Well, from where I look at it, it won't be, because as long as this COVID doesn't really expand, right? People still take away, people still dine in.
Yeah, but the thing is that we aren't sure of, when you have the cases going up and the minute you get spikes up, there's a lockdown. So the pattern is like a heart rate, right? So people are jumping in and out of dining, in and out of delivery. So would that in a way disrupt the market of dining, where the pattern and the consumer behavior, they get so comfortable in doing food delivery and they say, oh, forget it, I'm not going to dine anymore. I'm so comfortable at home, I'm just so used to it. Do you think that model, and also because of the fact that we don't know when the lockdown is, would that be a disruptor to the future dining experience market?
If there is a lockdown, definitely it will, because it's like people are it's like they are not allowed to actually leave the house.
No, but I'm talking about the long-term effect. Will it have a long-term effect that will disrupt the dining experience market?
I look at, maybe, right, it depends the entrepreneur who are investing. Are they doing a very experiential dining, or actually, let's say like a ghost kitchen where they just operate, just depending on takeaway?
What about in your business context?
In my opinion, it not really, because as I mentioned just now, no matter how they have done brewing at home, they still feel that it's like a professional barista or brewers can make a better coffee. And in fact, long term, I suppose it's like everyone is like, be it the cafe owners, the staff, or the even consumer, they are more educated in protecting themselves. So eventually, when they feel safe to dine in, given the ambience that it is safe, it's like, I think they will still choose to dine in. For me personally.
Vicky?
I think.
Vicky is thinking.
Yeah, for me, I think it won't change. I think people dine at home simply because if you're in a lockdown situation, you have no other option.
Yes.
Right? Very simple. If you want to enjoy really delicious Sri Lankan crabs, what better way just out of the kitchen and at the restaurant, right? So
Mr. Vicky is inviting all of you to his restaurant. When you want to
Definitely.
experience, authentic crab, using your hands and fingers, right? Yeah.
But I think this service, right? I think one of the very strong points that he's put out is, yes, you said it's supposed to be understood, right? Mm-hmm. We've done this for only a year, right? And I don't think it is understood. And I think we put a lot of effort to making sure that our team really goes that extra mile in communicating, in their whole presentation, right? And that's something very important. And I think restaurants need to do that. They need to do two things. One is service, and the other, they need to up the ante in terms of the game, as in the food that they are presenting or delivering, right? Needs to stand out, right? Then people will come to you.
And yeah.
That's why for our industry, right, for us, right, we actually redesign the menu that's suitable for takeaway, and it's like for a family or a small gathering they want. That is the menu where you can have, even though after a few hours, it's still good to eat. This is something, that's why you say that the best food is still cooked from the restaurant, I mean, right immediate. But again, if you have no choice or you have to decide to host your own small group of your family or friends, yes, you can do. So that will be for us to stay as well.
I guess it's important that everyone has a combination of the models, right? Combination of takeaway, delivery, dining, and of course, pop-ups, I suppose, unless you can have a pop-up Sri Lankan restaurant, who knows? We never know.
Yep.
Right. So we're talking, this hot summit is all about reviving Malaysia tourism. We don't know when the international borders will be open, but we're talking about domestic tourism. We're talking about promoting local tourism. So F&B plays a huge part, in tourism. And what are your respective restaurants and brands doing in order to work on that revival mode? Getting things back in order, getting people to come, and of course, having plans already in place in the event when the borders are open. What are you doing to get into that game? Like you were saying, it's a game you need to go forward. So what are you doing for each of your brand? Maybe Yip, you want to start on your side.
So
From the association point of view for you.
Yeah. So for the association point of view, we will continue to organize small events. It's like we are going to host our National Coffee Championship in the month of November. And hopefully with that, and we will create more, and hopefully the borders will be open by then. Then we will have at least people from neighboring country will come in to actually exhibit, especially those origin coffee producing country like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, and all that. So with all these, by creating the platform of the ICBS, our coming international exhibition body, so we will hope to invite more people, tourists, and come into our Malaysia, because being now we have Malaysia, we have a world champion that born. So actually, yes, specialty coffee definitely in Malaysia is already top 10 in the world. That will actually attract at least the neighboring country, the baristas and all that, to come visit in the exhibition.
Right. Okay. That's really good to hear. Irvin, what about you? What are the plans in Cafe 103 have put in place to also be part of that revival of that domestic tourism, and as well preparing for that international markets to open again?
For us, it's all about your brand position and also the value that you provide to your customers. For example, like 103 right now is more suitable for neighborhood customers, but when it comes to global brand, 103 is not enough, So we are planning to come out another coffee brand which is more focused on specialty coffee instead of a food menu. So we will be more focused on coffee, international branding, plus a world champion, something like that, just to get ready that when everything is fine, everything back to normal, and we will have a huge crowd of outstation coffee lovers like that. Right. Branding first.
Branding. So all those are the plans and strategies that you've put in place, right? Okay, let's now talk to our favorite crab. Sri Lankan crab. So what do you have?
So what we started to do was to focus on the cross-border state-wise, right? So we've been very focused on our SEO, trying to get higher ratings in terms of location traffic, focusing very much KL, Bangsa, PJ. So trying to make sure that, when the tourists do come, or say somebody from Penang comes here, how do we stand out as an option? Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, in the whole Klang Valley, how many crab restaurants are there?
Actually, there are plenty of crab restaurants, actually.
You're talking about thousands?
Because they are more on the seafood level, right? But specialty crabs would be Ferry Crab, right? And maybe us.
Right, just two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's better to just do specialty restaurants then?
Not necessarily. I think you need to have something a bit more. Like if you look at our model was very much trying to see how Fatty Crab had done, right? So your menu probably within 10 items. So the crab becomes the stand, and then you need to have one more supporting breader that will actually take the load in case they don't eat the crabs.
Right. Okay. Now I'm thinking of crabs already. Okay. Mr. Liang, what about you? What plans have you put in? To get ready for when the borders are open, when the events come back, when the international borders are open, of course there'll be even more big scale events. So what have you gotten in place?
Actually, we work very closely with the convention center, where the MICE, right? So where exhibition, conventions, or conference coming back, we are always there. So in terms of the other than we look at it this way, there are things that we call experiential dining experience, right? So like pop-up or very small private events coming up. We see that a lot of these people are calling for that. So we also equip ourselves with very private chef dining, or even the experiential dining in terms of a different kind of setup. I think I spoke to one of the members right there. Later we can see how we can collaborate. Yeah. So it's just not a straightforward, just say, I want to prepare a dining for 1,000, 2,000 packs. That is something that we already done. So during this time, we work with different partners to come with different ideas. Once the border is open, there are the new things coming up.
Right, that's absolutely true. I mean, when you're talking about moving forward is all about collaboration, co-creating, right? So that's exactly what we should be looking at for the F&B especially. Right, so we've come to the end of our F&B session. And we'd like to thank all our speakers, Mr. Vicky, Mr. Irvin, Mr. Liang, and of course Yip, for joining us today to share their insights on Hospitality Asia Channel. Look out for our next session on the business community segment, where we will be talking about pivoting. Stay tuned.